follow-up. I'm Eden, and this is my dad Noah, and every week for the past 2 years, we just sit on my bed and have a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about our tour to the UN.
Why did you want to go to the UN? You've been asking about it for a while, so this past week, we went on a tour one afternoon.
So one, because I love politics, I love learning about it, I love following the election and stuff, and also, so much stuff happens at the UN, and it's really cool to see what that's like and where it all happens.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of decisions come out of the UN, because now you get to see the rooms where all these decisions take place and what else goes on
and what the building looks like where it actually happens.
So we live right near the UN. So and it's one of our most frequented bus stops is right outside the UN. So we know what the outside looks like, what the library looks like, big office, and then all the conference rooms, the Security Council, the General Assembly, some of those other rooms. So we took a tour.
Yeah.
It was an hour. Was it worth it?
Yeah, it definitely was. I learned a lot, and we both did, and it was cool. It was, like I said before, it was just really cool to see just what happened and where.
What did you learn? Give me something.
So I learned a lot about those landmines.
Mm-hmm.
So they go in the ground, but
let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Take a step back. So we weren't just walking around and then they just started talking about landmines. So let's start here. There are 3 pillars of the UN of their focus. So peace and security, human rights, and development around the world.
Yes.
So as part of peace and security is military activity and peacekeeping missions. So they had a display of weapons, and then one of them was a landmine, grenade, other things. So that's the big picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you learn about the landmines?
So they are very destructive. I didn't know they were underground, but also in U.S. dollars, if you were to buy one here, it would only cost $3. But to destroy one, it costs $300 to $1,000.
And 20,000 people a year die from a landmine. So either stepping on or driving over it. If you're in a military vehicle or even just a regular car. I mean, and this is what happens in war zones. It struck me that there's $8 billion a day spent from the military around the world every day. $8 billion. And there are currently, remember how many peacekeeping missions there are around the world right now?
12?
I think you're right, 12.
Yeah.
12. And the most dangerous, they said, was in Mali in West Africa. That's been going on since 2013.
Yeah.
How about member states? Do you remember how many members there are of the United Nations?
151, I think.
193.
Oh, yeah.
193.
Yeah, 93.
I won't tell those other 42 that you left them out. But yeah, 100. Seeing if you would laugh. 193. And I'm still confused as to the consequences of some of these, like Russia's actions in the Ukraine. But yeah,
they're still a permanent member that can't be removed, basically.
Right, they're one of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. Yeah. I'm confused as to why there aren't certain consequences. One of the cool things was when we walked through the big hall, the General Assembly Hall, was that they were filming a movie.
Yeah, they were filming a new movie that's taking place there.
Part of it is there. Yeah, because as we were walking there, a lot of times in New York you see on posts, you see an arrow and then it says set.
And it goes up, side,
right,
down,
direction.
and it says set everywhere.
So the actors and crew can know where to go, where the set is. And the set happened to be
in the UN.
In the UN, in the General Assembly.
Yeah.
The movie is called Straight Shooter. I don't know, who knows when
that was the nickname of it.
Yeah, it's like the working title.
Yeah.
The working title of it. Yeah, the woman who was in charge of this set, I guess she was probably a production assistant. She wasn't happy that tours were still coming through in between takes because that time is money. and a lot of the tour was an hour.
Yep.
A lot of the tour was I thought the guide spoke a little too quickly, but he's trying to get a lot in an hour. But a lot of it was, this was a gift from so-and-so, this was a gift from so-and-so, this country, this country, this country.
person, that person.
Yeah, so there's a lot of artwork there,
Yeah.
but powerful artwork and symbolism, which was neat. Do you remember why the UN was even formed?
Because they wanted, it was formed after World War II, because they wanted to prevent a World War III.
I had no idea. So exactly right. So after World War II, after the Holocaust, after the probably the largest human rights violation in the history of the world, in the Holocaust, killing 11 million people and 6 million Jews, that they said never again. This can't ever happen again. So they formed this. They formed the pillars and the charter. There's a UN charter. So they're in the UN, like you said, the UN charter. If you're in the UN, there are totally different rules. Not even New York State rules. Like, totally different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the charter itself was focused on those 3 pillars,
right.
And I think there are 30. I think there were 30 bullet points essentially in the charter. But yeah, it was interesting about there's a post office in the UN. So we went down to see, they had cool stamps there. But the stamps only work inside the UN. So you'd have to pay to get inside the UN to use these stamps. So it wouldn't make any sense. But it's because it is you're right, it's not New York law, it's just international space, UN laws.
Yeah.
And I also didn't know that John Rockefeller, like Rockefeller Plaza, that he had bought the land for $8.5 million and then sold it to the UN.
Yeah.
And it used to be a slaughterhouse. And where the library was were tenements.
Right.
People lived there, and they had to find pay them to find other places to live. A lot goes on. 18 acres of land. A lot goes on.
18 acres?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's true. Plaza and land.
And the
grass.
buildings are really big.
Grass, too.
Mm-hmm.
There are also, if you ever go, something to check out, you can't go on tours there, but if you go on the deck, there you can look into the grass. And it's really cool because there are like a bunch of cool statues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the flags go up and down. I think the flags come down about 5.
Yeah.
I don't know when they go up.
They start, I think they go up at 8:30 or 8:45. Because they usually go up when I go to camp.
Oh. And you also notice something in the gift shop that they put the UN logo on anything.
Yeah.
Slap bracelets, huge pencils. They'll put the UN.
So they're really pencils like that big.
Yeah.
Like literally that big. Like you can just so if you just need something, you just go into the UN gift shop. You can find anything really.
Anything. It was like walking into a Walgreens, but it had the UN logo on it.
It was walking into like a mall, but the mall, like a store in a mall that has like just everything.
Mm-hmm. So let's wrap it up by going back to the beginning. What you said you were really interested in going to the UN because you're fascinated in what happens in politics and things around the world. What makes you interested in that?
Well, I love presidents, and I love seeing what what decisions are, like what things are being done to help problems and stuff, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, how these decisions are made, process of it, what leads to these decisions.
Right, like that's why I love watching the presidential election and following that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think it also when you read books, not just about politics or anything, but you like the books where there is a problem to solve and then you see how the characters try to come up with a solution?
Yeah. Especially when it's a very long book.
Because then
Right. Because then more stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they think, oh, okay, kind of just like politics. Oh, we think we have a solution. Oh, but then this happened, so now we need to adjust and try something else.
Yeah. Like, kind of like okay, it's very different, but like I'm gonna kind of give something that's like kind of like it. Like Harry Potter is a very long book, but in Harry Potter there's like a problem always that needs to be solved, but there has to be a bunch of different solutions, and not all might work. So it's like
Understandable.
yeah, like because like in politics, you maybe think you have a bunch of solutions, but they might not all work.
Right, and then you got to get, and especially in politics, you got to get all these people all to agree to
Right.
something,
Yeah,
which rarely ever
rarely ever
happens.
happens. Yeah,
or even just enough people to agree.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad we finally
Yeah.
did it. Is there anything else off the top of your head that's on your list in New York?
Yes. No,
What's that?
not in New York. But other things that relate to the U.S.
Okay.
I want to go to the White House. I want to go to the Capitol building.
Okay.
I want to go to the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll like that.
Okay. So we got to spend some time in DC. Okay. All right. I love you.
Love you.